All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to just remind our students what we expect when we respond with respect, so show me that now. I want to welcome everybody to our Veterans Day Assembly this year. And some people have asked me, I wonder why you're doing it on the 8th. Well, our district is large, and so we have some of our schools celebrate on the 8th throughout the day, and some on the 11th throughout the day, so that parents of multiple students in multiple buildings can attend multiple programs. So we definitely as a district value this. We want to make sure we honor our veterans and those who have served. And so it is an honor to have all of our veterans with us today and to have all of family members of some of our students here today as well. Will you please all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Students, be seated quietly, please. At this time, I would like to turn our program over to Ms. Sheehan, our music teacher, and our third grade students.
Blue sky, white stars. Blue sky, white stars. Blue sky, white stars. Blue sky, white stars. Red rose. Red rose. White rose. White rose. Red, white, and blue. Old Glory. Old Glory. Seaweed. Sea waves. Sewn together, one nation. Sew together, one nation. Well worn. Well worn. Woven together. Woven together. All American. All American. Stand proud. Stand proud. Rising up. Rising up. Fly high. Fly high. Freedom. Red, white, blue sky, white stars. Forever.
All right. Thank you so much to our third grade staff and students, and to Ms. Sheehan. Our third graders always provide us with an annual program for this, and they did a fantastic job. Very proud of you. At this time, what I'd like to ask is all veterans who are here in attendance with us today, if you would not mind, come on up. We'd like to recognize you. We usually have you stand up here in a straight line here in front of the stage. Please come on up. So we are going to pass the mic as we normally do. We're going to start down here, and if you can tell us your name, your branch of service, when you served, that would be great. And if you're associated with any particular student here or just a community member, just let us know. But it's always neat to hear the kids' names that you're associated with, and then I'll take the mic at the other end.
Gary Bowen, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam, grandson Riley. U.S. Army, E4, and my grandson is Hudson McCann, and served in 1970 to 74.
Hello, I'm Staff Sergeant Ronald Hill. I'm Jasmine Hill's dad, U.S. Army. I served from 1999 to present.
Corey Mason, I was a sergeant in the U.S. Army. Toured Iraq in 08, 09, and I'm Tyler Mason's dad.
Cheryl Luce, Vietnam War Sergeant, and my grandsons are Seth Luce and Colin Luce.
I'm Mark Galoni, and my grandsons are the same as his grandsons. And I was in the Air Force for 24 years.
My name is Jason Chilcote. I am Lillian and Hope Chilcote's dad. I served in the U.S. Navy. I am an E6 from 08 to current.
Hi, I'm Rick Lang. Served in the Navy 1963 to 66, Readyman 3rd class. I'm here to say hi to my daughter, Kathy Brownlee, and my granddaughter, Mara Brownlee.
Page Corps, Air Force, from 1961 to 1966. I'm here for my daughter, a teacher at Bonnie Baker.
My name is Jim Good. I served in the U.S. Army from 1964 to 1970. My grandsons are Nathan and Benji Barkus.
My name is Bernie Schwartz, United States Air Force, 1987 to 1994. I was in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I'm friends with JJ and Miss T, as I call her, Taylor Smitley.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Fitzgerald. I served in the Army Nurse Corps. I was a captain, Operation Desert Storm, 2000. Thank you, 1990. Yeah. And I served until 1998. And I'm here for my great-granddaughter, Rylan Leslie, and a very special friend, Scott Kellett.
Jonathan Boffman, U.S. Army, 2004 to 2011. Here for my children, Alexa, Andrew, Abigail, and Annabeth Boffman.
Josh Rowland, U.S. Navy, served from 1995 to 1999. Here for my son, Bracken Rowland.
Harlan Hill, U.S. Air Force, 1979, 1984. Community member, no relation to the gentleman back down the way.
Patrick Dobbins, was in the Army from 2006 to 2013. I'm here for Caden Bailey Dobbins.
Hi, Bud Chase, U.S. Marine Corps, Vietnam era. I'm here for my granddaughters, Elizabeth and Caroline. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Elizabeth's my daughter. My granddaughter is Emily Newell and Caroline Newell.
Kids, if you want to know what a line of heroes looks like, it's right here. These are present-day heroes who have served our country. Let's give them a big round of applause. Boys and girls, thank you so much. Go ahead and be seated quietly, please. We really want to honor all of you, and from me to you, thank you so much for your service and for everything that you have done for our country and to help us protect our freedoms here and abroad. So thank you so much. At this time, we have some cards that have been created by our kids. And so each of the kids here in the front, go ahead. You can go ahead and give a veteran a card. So find somebody. Make sure everybody gets one. There we go. Wonderful. Make sure everybody gets a card. All right, did everybody get a card? We want to make sure. All right, thank you, kindergartners. Go ahead and take a seat. Oh, we had one more. There we go. You get two. You know, sometimes that happens. All right, thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and have you go ahead and sit down. We're going to have Mr. Arlen Hill speak to our students. So the rest of you can go ahead and take a seat. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll continue our program. Boys and girls, this is Mr. Arlen Hill, and he spoke to us last year, and he contacted me and was very interested in speaking this year, and he is so good with his message, and so we wanted to invite him back. And at this point, I'm going to turn the program over to him. Thank you, sir.
All I can say is, wow. Oh, I'll tell you, that was really amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me this morning. And thank you for allowing me to share a few moments of your time. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here again this year and to share with each and every one of you a few thoughts on what today means. Brief history of Veterans Day. Veterans Day started 101 years ago, in the year 1918, at the end of the First World War. President Woodrow Wilson declared that November 18th would be known as Armistice Day, or Ceasefire Day, the day that the First World War ended. It was also the year that the American Legion was founded, of which I am a life member, of Post 85 here in Newark. In 1934, President Franklin Roosevelt declared that November 11th would be known as a federal holiday. It was still called Armistice Day. We were only at that time honoring the veterans who had served in the First World War. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower decided he was going to change the name to Veterans Day to honor all veterans of all wars and those that served in peacetime, and also our National Guard and Reserve troops that have served so honorably and so faithfully and well. You know, a few years ago, I had a young lady come up to me. It was an assembly just like this. And afterwards, I stuck around for a few minutes for questions. And the young lady came up to me and said, Mr. Hill, what is a veteran? And what does a veteran look like? How do I know what a veteran is? And I said, well, honey, I said, thank you. A veteran is a person who gave of themselves and sacrificed for the good of this nation so that you could be free. She kind of was a little not convinced, and she said, well, what do they look like? I said, well, they look a lot like me, and a lot like you folks here. I said, they come from all walks of life. Doctors, lawyers, teachers. They come from the cities. Cities like Cleveland, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Washington, Houston. And they come from the small towns like Newark, Utica, St. Louisville. They come from both sexes, male and female. They come from young 17, 18-year-olds to 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds, and a lot older sometimes. We have World War II vets that are over 100 years old that have served in the armed forces, and they're just as much a veteran as I am and as much of a veteran as you folks are here today. They come from all educational backgrounds, from high school dropouts to people with college degrees. But they all have one purpose only. They all sacrifice something for the greater good of this country. They sacrificed for your freedom and my freedom. Now, that sacrifice may have been a job, It may have been marriage. It may have been a college education. It might have been leaving home for the first time, not knowing what you're going to get into, but knowing that it's going to be worth it down the road. President Reagan said in his inaugural address back in 1981, he said this. He said, "The price of freedom at times has been high, but we've never, ever been willing to not pay the price. We've always paid the price." And he also said, freedom is one of the things that we strive for. We will negotiate for it. We will compromise for it. We will not surrender for it, now or ever. On a day in February, the year 1979, I stood with probably about 12 or 13 other men in a small room in Columbus. And I raised my right hand to the sky, and I swore an oath before Almighty God that I would defend this country against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and that I would bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I would obey the orders of the President of the United States and all officers appointed over me, so help me God. That day, ladies and gentlemen, was a turning point in my life. I've never looked back since. I've gone through a lot, and so have all of you that took that oath as well. Some of you were drafted. I was not. I volunteered. But whether you volunteered, or whether you drafted, or where you served makes no difference. Each one of my fellow veterans here today are my brother and sister in arms. And I know that each one of you will agree with this, and you'll stand shoulder to shoulder with other veterans if the need ever arose to fight for our freedom. This is as much your day as it is my day. Each one of you have a little piece of American history. You served in Desert Storm. Some of you, I heard, served in Vietnam. My stepfather served in Vietnam. He was a heavy equipment mechanic. Some of you were in the Navy. Some of you were in the Army. Some of you were in the Marine Corps. Some of you were in the Air Force. But you know what? Whatever branch you served in, it doesn't matter. You still wore the uniform. You served in peacetime. You served in wartime. You're still a veteran. And this nation has a debt to pay each and every one of us. I had a lady ask me this, and with this I'll wrap it up. She asked me, she goes, "What's the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day? Do we not recognize our soldiers and sailors, airmen and Marines enough?" I looked at her and I said, "Ma'am," I said, "we recognize them every single day of the year, or we should. But Memorial Day, unlike Veterans Day, we recognize those that have given their lives in defense of this country, that have gave of themselves. You know, in the Bible, Jesus himself said, no greater love hath a man than he laid down his life for his friends." And I'm sure all my fellow vets would agree with that. On Veterans Day, we recognize those that are still alive and that are still serving this country today in ways that we can only imagine. Some veterans have gone on to television. Pat Sajak was one. Most of you know him, Wheel of Fortune. He was a broadcaster on Armed Forces Radio. Most of you have heard of Elvis Presley. He served in the Army in the 1950s, over in Germany. Served 3 years. A lot of our presidents went on from military service. Dwight Eisenhower was a 5-star general who commanded D-Day, the invasion of Europe. He also became our 34th president. And there were many, many, many others that I don't have time to mention today. But suffice it to say, each and every one of them served their country in the military and went on to continue to serve their country. And that's what we veterans do. We serve our country regardless of the circumstances, because you know what? Freedom is not free. It's bought and paid for with a terrible price. We paid some of that price. Some veterans go home and they suffer from PTSD. They suffer from losing limbs. They suffer from getting burned in fires. And they have to learn to live with that. They carry those scars for the rest of their life. Some of my fellow veterans came home. They weren't injured. They didn't lose their hands or their feet or any other limbs, but they were forever changed. And I pray for each and every one of them and their families that God will give them peace. Because one day, we all, as warriors, will go to warrior heaven, to Valhalla, because we earned it. May you have clear skies and tailwinds in your flight through life. Also, just brief, I'm going to be sticking around here for a few minutes afterwards. If you have any questions you want to ask, just pull me aside for a moment and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Thank you very much.
Part of our program, we have a couple of students who are like table reading, and then boys and girls, I need you to understand that we're actually going to leave this assembly quietly. We are not going to leave it being loud, because we are honoring our veterans and we want to make sure that we all hear this and we leave with respect to them. Okay.
The table honors the men and women who served in America's armed forces. The table is round to show our everlasting devotion and concern for our fallen and missing comrades. The cloth is white, symbolizing the purity and motives when answering call to duty. The single red rose displayed in a vase reminds us of the life and blood that was shed, and their loved ones and friends who kept the faith and await answers. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbol for our commitment and continued determination to account for our missing. A slice of lemon on the plate is to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in the foreign land.
The salt is to remind us of the tears endured by those missing and their families who still seek answers. The black napkin is a reminder of the isolation, deprivation, and cruel fate of our missing. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain those lost from our country, founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share this evening with us. The chair is empty and tilted. They are not there, and will remain so until they return or are accounted for. You are not forgotten so long as there is one left in whom your memory remains.
I think that last line that was read is a great line to read again and end our assembly with. You are not forgotten so long as there is one left in whom your memory remains. Veterans, we thank you so much for your service. We thank you so much for being here today. I want to thank all of our community members and family members who came today as well. And we were so glad that you could be here to help us honor our veterans.